Good morning, guys. Welcome to our first official podcast with Michela. Today, we talk about journey, learning, experience, and perspective. Before we start, I want to ask you to subscribe because it costs you nothing but helps us to continue to bring you answers you're asking and to bring more people to our podcast. So welcome. Let's start. Let's go right into it. Good morning, Michela.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. It's my pleasure to talk to you today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
If we can start simply, if you can say who you are outside of your career, outside of what you want to do in your life as a person.
Yes, of course. It's difficult to describe in short, but I describe myself through my journey in life. I am a person that is very empathetic and very oriented to other people. But also I went on a personal journey, right? On a personal discovery and development.
Okay.
I think that each one of us is shaped by their journey, but indeed, as you say, it's also a matter of your nature, right? Nature versus nurture. I grew up as a very sensitive kid in a very strict family. And that didn't give me much confidence in myself. So I had to build that from scratch. How did I do that? A lot of therapy. And I know that therapy is still a taboo in certain countries, in certain cultures, but I think that therapy would benefit each one of us. Because if you don't know yourself, then you don't have the tools to deal with other people and to deal with the situation in life. Some people are more up to that, but I did it with therapy, different kinds. Speech therapy, also body-oriented therapy. I am a person that also thinks a lot, sometimes overthinks. And that's how I face life, actually. So I question a lot. I question myself, I question others, I question situations that happen. And that helped me grow a lot.
Thank you for your honesty. How would you say that if you're questioning, people saying overthinking it's a bad thing, I believe that overthinking is a very good thing because overthinking is analyzing everything before you do something, or analyzing in progress. If you overthink, I think it's a very good thing if you know how to use it. When you're saying that your childhood was very strict, parents are very strict, but you felt you wanted to do something because you felt the confidence that is brought on you, that this is your mark. You wanted more. You know you're inside, you are more confident than what they're saying. Inside, you know you are better than what they are showing you. You felt it inside. Before anything happened, you already knew that you need to go different direction to get to open it, to be free, right?
So what I felt, I wasn't conscious about confidence, right? So I didn't feel confident, but I felt that I was different and that I wanted to know more. Actually, what saved me was that I am very curious. I'm very curious. So for me, as I grew up in Italy, for me, my own culture was not enough. I was always curious about what is out there. Is there another way of living? Is there another way of behaving? And that's why actually when I was 20, I left Italy and I started my journey through Europe and the world. And I learned, indeed, I took from every culture I visited and I got to know, I took what I liked and I tried to behave in that way.
Beautiful.
That has shaped me as a person, yes.
Beautiful. When you're saying you are from Italy, we all know, the whole world know that Italy is the most traditional country. And then you travel the world, so you see the differences in people's personalities and people's perspective. What would be the one thing that you see that this needs to be changed?
I think in Italy it's very strong. The tradition is very strong. So the weight of the past and the way of how culture emerges through people. But I mean, I've also seen this in other cultures. Italy is just very strong in traditions, which can be also in many other old cultures, like China, for example. But I think at the base of it, there is only one thing. It's fear. It's fear of getting into the unknown. And that is very scary. I also was scared. I mean, I didn't know where I was jumping into, right? I was just leaving my home, my country, my safety net. And then I went to Finland, which is very different in the scale of Europe. Completely different culture, completely different way of living, mentality. Language, yes, but that was actually the minor thing, you know? So I strongly believe, and this is not unfortunately my quote, but I believe in that courage is not the absence of fear. It's just facing the fear.
Very good. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm glad you said the word fear, because fear is circulating the world, it's changing, it's stopping the world doing anything. If you think of kids, we were born without fear. The fear was implemented into us by parents, by government, by what we see, the news, TV, films, everything. Let's say your story. Where would you be today if you had no fear all your life? If you went through every single idea you had, every goal you planned, if you went straight into it, where do you think you would be today?
Well, to be honest, I think I would be here.
I love you. Very good.
Because for me, fear was never a block. For me, fear was just something that I had to face because I really wanted. I was so eager to get somewhere, and this somewhere would change in the course of my life. I've changed so many professions, I've changed so many countries and so on. It's just that you have to listen to what do you want to do. Okay, ask yourself, is it reasonable? Don't go, I don't know, jump off a cliff, but do the thing that you want to do. And don't listen to your fear, because fear is just making you stuck where you are. And then you are gonna be frustrated, you're gonna be unhappy, and just bad things. You're gonna attract bad things into your life. And life has a way to teach you lessons.
It does, yeah.
And if you don't listen to the lesson, then another lesson is gonna come and it's gonna be stronger. I learned that the hard way.
Very good. So if we talk about the fear that you went, that fear never stopped you. If you could remember, what was the first moment that you realized, I do want more?
So, as I said, I felt always a bit different. And that was not, of course, when you are a teenager, it doesn't feel good to be different. You want to blend, you want to belong to a group. So I always had this feeling that I was wrong in a way that I couldn't really pinpoint because I didn't have the instruments in myself. That's why I told you about therapy. Therapy also helped me distinguish the different emotions in myself and the different feelings, because sometimes the brain lies to you. And you shouldn't believe that. You should always try to be analytical. So I started feeling that I was different during high school, maybe in middle school, and then when I got to university, I thought that no, this is not my way. But then I didn't know what is my way. You know, I've always been exposed to Italian culture, at most American culture through films, but yeah, it's not the real thing.
I heard one beautiful quote that says, if you want to find yourself, you need to get lost first.
Yeah, exactly.
And I truly believe it. And it is what it is. If you escape your circle, if you escape your routines, you always get lost. But it's the journey to find yourself, because you need to get out.
Yeah. So my luck or coincidence or whatever you want to call it in life was that when I started university, I started meeting, I met first a Venezuelan guy, and that he introduced me to Erasmus people, Erasmus students in Rome. And that was amazing for me. I got in contact with people that lived a different reality. How cool is that? They grew up in a completely different culture. They have another way of thinking. For me, that was exciting. And they show me a different way of thinking. Each one was from a different nationality, so each one had their own culture. And for me, that was a spectacular experience to live. And then I was kind of relieved. I was like, oh, this is an environment where I thrive, actually, where I feel like myself, where I don't feel wrong.
If I can jump into it, just interesting for me, if you feel in different environment that you thrive, that you have a bit more confidence, maybe you have a bit more willing to do what you want to do. What was the difference?
Open-mindedness. In an expat community where everyone has a different culture background, difference is not something strange. It's the basic. So they were different from each other. I was different. I was normal by being different.
I understand.
Each one is unique, but then when you see only one way of living, when you see only one culture, you feel like an outsider.
True. And where did this group bring you? What part of life brought you?
Getting to know these Erasmus students, first of all, it brought me to a place of openness and being more true to myself. And then, my story is I fell in love with a Finnish guy and we went to Finland. I decided to do, so he was on an Erasmus year here, and then I decided to do my Erasmus year there. Of course, it was not an Erasmus year. I ended up studying in Finland. I stayed there for 13 years. And I loved actually the culture there because I was craving something that here doesn't exist, which is the level of engagement in the community, which means the public space is really, it belongs to everybody. So everybody respects that.
Italian is very strong with the community and with the woman, everybody, both.
In a different way.
In a different way.
Yeah. So here you have a lot of volunteerism, helping, the poor, the migrants. But there it's a different, it's ingrained in their...
It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal. For example, the social state is very strong there. And as an Italian, you could think, I could profit out of it. So if you are unemployed, for example, you receive a good salary, but they don't want to profit from that. They don't want to stay unemployed for years. They could, but they say, if I stay unemployed for so many years, then I'm taking the money from somebody else that might need it more. So in this sense, I think that society is really whole and wholesome in for example, Nordic countries.
I believe I see in many situations that the difference in the mentality of people is that you don't have opportunities. So for Italian person to become somebody really successful, it's very difficult to get there. And unfortunately, they give up halfway through because it's just too difficult.
Yeah, I think that there are two different topics here. One is a vicious circle that exists in countries like Italy. The government is not present. So you have basically to survive. It's not living, it's surviving, finding your own way. And that is a battle. And that is exhausting. So you try to escape this battle any way you can. And in countries like this, for example, there is a black market. There are many examples of this. In other countries, there is a social state, so you have a safety net. And when you have a safety net, you don't look for survival. You can live and you can thrive and you can learn new things, learn languages, learn new skills, and that pushes you up. And I think this is the main difference. Another thing, the other topic for me is indeed personal development. And that has no nationality, that has no country border. I think that is hard for every human being. And of course, I mean, even at the biological level, we are done in such a way to save energy. So we don't want to do the work. And it's hard work, but for me at least, it's worth it. It has made me grow so much as a person. I understand much more of my own mechanisms, and that helps me deal with life, deal with people, and live better.
Do you see the difference yourself? Let's say 30 years ago, when our parents were thriving, it was different because there were a road that you need to get a good job. To get a good job, you need to have a skills. You need to have a certain physical skills to get somewhere. Okay, now it's all changed because everything beyond digital, everything is online, everything is changed. Now, if you want to be successful, you need to think outside the box, and it's very difficult to get there. Countries like Italy, Spain, France, Slovakia, let's say they are 20 years behind. If you look in America, if you look in other countries, they have structure now that they can help you develop in the way that it's needed for the future. Let's not say it's wrong to learn the skills, but the skills that you're learning today in the school, for example, are not going to be needed in 10 years' time. When you leave the school, you're not going to be needed. So you are burning your time in the school and in your personal development that is affected by somebody who lived in 50 years ago. So do you see changes yourself that is opportunities for people that actually have structured brains that see everything outside the box, that they should be more supported than the people that are, don't want to call them lazy, but that they are settled in the old ways?
I think it's a personal choice, right? I mean, you choose how to live your life. However, the world has changed, right? So you can still do one job your whole life and be happy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But this was more the way our parents worked, the society in back then. It was like that. You study or you learn a skill and then you get a job that you keep all your life. And now, actually, this is quite the opposite. I mean, if you start a job and you have it the whole your life, especially like in technology or fast evolving fields, that is a bit strange. I have this feeling. I've changed jobs many times and I changed career also many times. So I think that the traditional way of learning and then getting a job doesn't work anymore for many people. You have to get skills and you need to be updated, to learn continuously.
But do you think the young people have enough support now to actually get in 10 years where they need to be, or there needs to be more support focused on the changes that world already done?
I wouldn't know where people would get support nowadays, because school, as you said, gets you, let's say, the general knowledge, which is of course good, but then where do you learn the skills that you need in the workforce now? You have to find it yourself. In internet now, ChatGPT, but there is not something structured that would bring you there.
Did you ever arrive to the moment where you felt absolutely lost? Let's say at the end of the road that you didn't know where to turn. And if so, what was the moment that helped you to move forward?
Yes, absolutely. I felt lost many times, and then I found myself again. So the first time that I had such a big identity crisis, I guess I can call it like that, was when I finished my studies. And I studied a lot because I studied physics at the university. I did first a master and then a PhD. So it's many years of study.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But then after that, I was like, wow, and now what? What do I want to do? Because in a way, I had too many options, and freedom is scary.
Of course.
So until that time, I was on a fixed journey, right?
I understand.
It was easy. One day after another, 1 year after another, you knew exactly what you needed to do. And then it ends and you're like, wow, what do I do now?
You're at the edge of the swimming pool and you need to jump.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I did was another 6 months of, after my PhD, I did a postdoc. So I moved from Finland to Bern in Switzerland. And I did 6 months of this postdoc, but I was like, this doesn't feel right. I need to do something else. And I was lost. I didn't know what do I do? You have to go inside and really look at yourself with an honest lens.